I think let's just begin.
Yeah, sure. Hi, sure.
Yeah. So, I've been meaning to do this session with you for quite some time now, and I'm really excited that you have joined me. It took me a while for me to, send you across the request that please come on live and please accept it though. And I'm really, really glad that you agreed to do so. So, thank you so much for coming in, first and foremost. And that being said, let me just have the privilege to, introduce you to people who are coming in and joining.
Sure. Thanks, Anjana.
So, Shreya here is a premium content writer, and she is also called as LinkedIn Girl, popularly known as LinkedIn Girl. And she has, over a course of time, 1.5 years, probably 15 months or more so.
2 years, I would say. 2 years.
2 years. 2 years, she has gained over 60,000 followers on LinkedIn. And she's also a budding entrepreneur. And she's just very, very, she's a hustler. That's what I'd say if personally somebody asks me. And I'm really glad that you have joined. So before starting out, let me just ask you the very first question. Everybody asks you, like, how did you decide, to be a writer and how did you get into writing? But I want to ask you that before that being said, was that a eureka moment for you where you discovered that writing is probably what you wanted to do, or it just happened with the flow? It was, it was just a natural descent that you saw that, you'll make a career out of writing. How did it go? How did it turn out?
Yeah, I always loved writing. So I've been writing since I was very young, and I knew I loved writing in some form or the other, mainly poems, I would
Right.
say. But deciding to shift and make it my whole career, it was, I guess, a kind of a snapping moment. It wasn't
Right.
something that I really thought about even. Like I would say, I was all into doing medicine. I wanted to be a doctor, and I had this, this suddenly something went off, and I'm like, no, I want to be a writer. I just want to study English. I want to do something that, I just really want to go in all into it. And
Okay.
I don't even remember clearly, but I just know that there was just one afternoon where I just, I was just sitting in the hall or something, and then I told my dad, I don't want to do this. I want to do literature. And he was like, yeah, okay, let's go start studying for SAT. And I
So
was like,
you
okay.
were a biology student. You were a biology
Yeah,
student.
yeah, like a
And
science
then you
student.
changed everything. Yeah, science student biology, and then you changed completely into English.
Yeah, right.
So that happened just naturally.
Yeah, that was, I wasn't a fuss at home. It wasn't something that, we really thought about, oh my God,
Right,
it's career
right,
change.
right.
It was just a natural
Correct.
thing that happened. The only thing, it wasn't as natural, of course, because I had to think a lot about, colleges and applications and studying for the SAT and
Yeah,
all the exams and everything. And of course, waiting
yeah.
a year before I could join, and then, going in for internships, things like that. So a lot happened. I wouldn't say it was like, an instant change. The decision was instant,
Correct.
I would say, but, the process was pretty long.
So it all started with LinkedIn, right? I mean, that was the game changer for you. It all started with LinkedIn, and popularly you became as a LinkedIn girl. How did that kind of, it just turned probably overnight? I have read your ebook. For those of you who don't know, Shreya has launched her very first ebook. You should definitely go check her out, and it's there on her bio. And please do read it. It has like really great stuff. So I know the story basically, like how it got into, but just narrate it in your style. Probably, how did you get into LinkedIn, and how did all the popularity just overnight probably came into?
It was a viral LinkedIn post. I guess everyone
Yeah.
now who knows me just knows that that happened to me.
Yeah.
So it was in college, in the first month of college, actually 28th or 28th September 2018, so like two
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
I met the CEO of, like the former CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Feiner. And it was a
Yeah.
short meeting, a short conversation, and we just spoke about LinkedIn and how I could use LinkedIn being a student, and it was just, I did not think much about it. I just went home at night. I just wrote that post and I put it out on LinkedIn, and I slept not expecting anything. Didn't even
Yeah.
know. I didn't even use LinkedIn before that. I just had a profile because
Exactly.
um, I think I had a profile because my grandfather said that, you should just have a profile, just, make one since you are interning and stuff. So I had a profile, but then I never really worked on it. And I just put out that post, slept, and I remember like in a lecture, and my phone just was buzzing the whole time. And I didn't know what happened because honestly, nobody messages me. I have nobody who would ever message me, at least until 2 years ago. So that was very surprising, and that was like 300, 3,000, 4,000 notifications from like LinkedIn,
All overnight.
and yeah, all overnight, and it just worked
Yeah.
out. And that I would say the only thing that was overnight was the post going viral. Nothing else was overnight, but yes, that post
Yeah.
did go viral overnight. That definitely happened. So yeah,
And
like
this happened when you were back
yeah,
in Dublin.
yeah, I just moved to Dublin. That was my first few days here. Yeah.
Okay. And how did Dublin exactly happen? Like Ireland out of the blue. Probably we have heard people moving to US or UK or Australia, Canada, Ireland.
Yeah.
How did Ireland happen to you?
There's also a very interesting story there, actually, because when I decided that I want to study literature, it was a sudden shift. My family and I, we had never thought about colleges abroad because it was medicine all along. So we knew that medicine is in India,
Right.
like, definitely. So that was completely new for us. I mean,
Hmm.
the financial and all of those things are very important, but the main thing was where to go, right? Because there are so
Yeah.
many options, so many countries, so many, and everything. Every country has their, individual perks and benefits, and kind of culture that you would really love to be in. So
Correct.
I applied for in a few colleges in the US and in the UK. And then we had this one education fair, which was just like, I think in December or something. And we had an education
Hmm.
fair, Ireland education fair. I went there,
Hmm.
and there was Trinity was one of the colleges over there. So the only reason actually that I applied for Trinity was because in their brochure they had this word called reputation, which is also Taylor Swift's album.
Okay.
And
Ha!
that
Right.
that college was pretty much out of the league, I would say, because they had these amazing requirements and a lot of you
Hmm.
have to be like the star person to enter there. So I had given up
Right.
hope, and then I brought the brochures home. My mom was reading the brochures because my mom didn't come with us, like me and my dad had gone. So my mom was reading the brochures at home, and she was like, "Oh, like this is reputation. This you have to go there and you have to apply there." I was like, "No,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work out. They're looking for these star perfect kids. It's not gonna work out." But because she pushed me for it, I applied and it worked out. So it was again, and like this was one of the best universities in the world for English and philosophy, which I
Right.
wanted to do. So if I got into Trinity, then it wasn't a question at all about out of all the other
Yeah.
offers, it was never a question if I got into Trinity, and that
You
happened. So
always had Trinity for literature and English, though?
sorry.
Did you kept it as an option? Trinity was an option for
I
you
It wasn't an
for
option
higher
until
studies?
December of I think 2018. When I went to that education fair, I didn't even think that Ireland was a place to go and study, right? Because you've
Exactly.
just
Yeah, yeah,
seen
yeah.
it
It
as
happened to you.
a Hogwarts kind of thingy, or you think of it as just this fantastical place to be in. So yeah, I didn't really think about it, but I applied to 5 universities here, and
Yeah.
I think like I got into all, but once Trinity said yes, it was like no questions
You
asked.
had
I'm
to
going
go,
there.
right?
So yeah, that was fixed.
So your freelancing life was before Trinity happened, or it just started out after you when they just got kickstart over there? How did your freelancing
It
life
was
start?
here.
That was
It
before.
was it was here. Earlier, I had done a lot of internships. So I did like
Right.
3 internships for a year when I was back in Mumbai, and there actually I learned a lot about content writing and things like that. So I knew that this is something that interested me. Never thought
Yeah.
that I wanted to be a freelancer right now. I thought maybe after I graduate or whatever, but it just kind of
Right.
happened, and I went with it.
And you continued that back in Dublin.
Uh, in India, it was all internships. That's it. So no freelancing
Yeah.
at all. And here, because
Right.
the post went viral, and because people said we liked what you wrote in that post that went viral, can you write for us? We'll pay you this
Yeah.
much amount. And it
Yeah.
seemed interesting, and I was like, okay, people are willing to pay me, and so I took it up. So that's where I
So
started.
usually what happens is when we go after 12th standard, when we are graduating, there's not thought of, you want to work side by. And in my previous session also, we were talking about the same thing that it's good to start working in the earlier years of life, but that generally doesn't happen so. So
Yeah.
when I speak to you, like personally speaking, personally asking you, did you have that kind of already goal set that okay, you will be studying, but as well as you will be earning, or probably you will be making money, or probably get making freelancing as your full time thing. Had you already chalked out that plan when you moved back to Dublin?
No, like the first time I moved to Dublin, within 1 month, I found LinkedIn, I found that viral post, and people found me, people started paying me. So I didn't really think about it. I had not planned for it at all, like at all. I never thought
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
While I was interning, I was reading a lot about, content writing, copywriting as a career. And honestly, when
correct.
I was interning, if somebody said copywriter, my first thought was this person is copy pasting something. That was literally what I thought. So I had to dig
Okay.
into what a copywriter is. And once I understood that and I saw the potential
Yeah.
it has, I knew I wanted to do something like this in the future. And most of the copywriters I read, honestly, these were all people who probably like made millions. And I was like, this is not going to happen. This is
Hmm.
not realistic. It's not realistic to
Hmm.
be a copywriter, even like who's going to pay you for like writing ads and stuff. But the more I digged into it, I understood. And then when it started happening to me, then I got it. Okay,
Yeah.
this actually happens, and you know what? This can happen to anyone, and this is happening to me. So I'm going to make it work for me. That's it.
That's how
That's
it
yeah.
happened.
That's how it
But
happened.
you see, there is a lot of things that is attached to freelancing thing. That is one,
Mm-hmm.
it being said, lot of prejudice, lot of stigmas, and a lot of things that that you probably do not have a stable career, or that freelancing is just a lifestyle. Probably it's not a career choice, and
Yeah.
money doesn't come like always it does. There's no security that is attached to it. So with all those kind of things, I mean, how would you personally, that's the very reason I did freelancing successfully, because I was very sure I did not want it to highlight how you content write or how you do things, because that's already there in your posts and people who know that very well you have done it. I wanted to highlight the basic part that Shreya Pattar's life is a successfully, see, she's a successful freelancer, and that is what point I wanted to highlight. So with all this prejudice that comes along to it, and all this, what do you have to say about it, or probably how did you look into it in the very first instant, once you get into it?
Right. First thing I want to say is you are one of the very few people in the world who have pronounced my surname right. So thank you so much for that. That was like perfect. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. And
I'll again take the credit to the LinkedIn, because you have
the audio,
put the voice note over there, audio, and
right?
I made sure that okay, I listened to it very well.
Right. No, that's good effort. So thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, in terms of like, you know, freelancing is of course very unstable. We already know that.
Yeah,
But I could take that risk because I'm a student. Look, if
yeah,
I don't do freelancing, I'm not going to earn anyways, right? And if I do freelancing, I'll earn maybe say like even $10 a month. I earn something, right? So I'm not
hmm,
losing out on anything. If I'm doing work, I'm getting paid for it. I'm not losing out on anything. So for
correct.
me, it wasn't about, even at that point, it wasn't about, financial independence or,
Yeah,
about a career or anything. I just wanted to
yeah,
see how it goes. And I just took things as they came. So in the first, I
hmm,
would say in the first 6, 8 months, I never like, I didn't actively look for clients. I wasn't putting out content
yeah,
with the aim to find clients. I was just doing it because I wanted to. And sometimes
yeah,
people would approach me. I was working with probably one or two people in a month, and like small work, like just finish it off in a few days and it's done. And I was mainly like enjoying Dublin and whatever, like moving here and things like that. Didn't actively
hmm,
do anything, but because I saw that scope and things kept growing and people kept coming to me and people kept uh, people actually kept like saying that, hey, here's our money, take it and give us content.
yeah,
That
yeah,
showed me that you can really do it. And
hmm,
even today, like, I think in the middle sometimes, like, I do get worried that freelancing is not stable. But at this
yeah,
point in life and at this point in my freelancing career, I would say I know that freelancing is unstable. So if today I
yeah,
have a lot of work and tomorrow I don't, it's not for the lack of knowledge, it's not for the lack of awareness. I
yeah,
already know it.
yeah, yeah,
And so if tomorrow something goes wrong, and if tomorrow I don't have enough clients that I do today, if I don't have enough money that I do today, I'm fine because I know that this is freelancing. I wouldn't lose
yeah,
myself over it, and I would still
yeah,
keep doing. I would still keep looking for more people. Because one of the
yeah,
main things that happened was, when I kept losing, like once I started getting that build up and then I started losing clients, I got scared
hmm,
that okay, nobody's going to come back again. I gave it a few months and people came back, and I had more people, I had more money, I had more high ticket clients,
right,
and I had more people who
right,
really stayed long term. So I just kind
hmm,
of embraced that nature that okay, fine, things will come, things will go, it's completely fine. I'm just going to do the most of what I have, and that's what's
yeah.
important. So I just
And
kind of went with
talking
whatever
about
happened.
correct.
Yeah.
And talking about financial, achievements, it's like you have very well stated that you got your own first MacBook, right? And then followed by a phone that was like instant, which means that somewhere down there, it was not a plan though, chalk out, but there was financial gains that were coming in. Unlike what people, there might have been, speculations like, there's no financial gain or probably. Now, during in the process, freelancing is a career that has really high expectations and, it's very demanding.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what we do is we chase a lot of projects at a time. We do a lot of things. Things really do get overwhelmed. So
Right.
what do you do with that? Like it being such a demanding and it being such a nature of work where you are expected to work like 24/7 probably because you are not associated with the corporate. How do you
Mm-hmm.
manage with that kind of living? And now
I
that
think
all the
one
more reasons to
thing,
say you are a student also.
right. I think one thing I've stopped telling myself is that freelancing is demanding, because it is.
Hmm.
And the fact is that everything's demanding. I see people who
Yeah.
have a 9 to 5 job who also work overtime, or who are not happy with the job, or who love their job, but even after coming from the job, they have to work at home or whatever, or
Correct.
working overtime, working late, and if you don't go to office, you miss your salary for that day. All of those kind of things. So
Correct.
everything in its own way is demanding, right? The only
Hmm.
thing with freelancing is that you make your own rules. You make your own rules, you decide who you want to work with. I could decide
Correct.
whether I want to work with 10, 15 different clients, or I want to work with
Yeah.
just one client in a month. I decide whether that one
True.
client that I work with is going to be like a $50 client or a $5,000 client. That's on me.
Right.
Everything's on me.
Right.
I'm responsible for it. So as long as I'm responsible and as long as I can define my own rules, I'm
Yeah.
good, because then I know that I'm prepared for it and I'm expecting it, and I've kind of laid down all of my expectations right in the beginning of hopefully the month. So that's
Yeah.
that's something that I really follow, because
Hmm.
even I used to think that I'm a freelancer, so I'm supposed to be available all the time. And honestly, that
Correct.
ruined my mental space a lot. It ruined my personal space a lot. It was just very low points at that point, because everything felt overwhelming because I didn't set boundaries for myself. So just
Right.
now I have those boundaries. Now I do not respond to messages or emails on weekends. Now I have a
Hmm.
vacation responder every weekend. So if anybody emails me, they automatically know that, okay, I'm not in office on the weekends.
Yeah.
All of those
Yeah.
things, small changes that kind of give me mental peace, I've made them. And
Yeah.
I think anyone who's doing freelancing should kind of realize that you make your own rules, and you should only take
Yeah.
what you think you can handle. Just
And
go
if
with
I
it.
may just ask, like, what should be the objective? Like when you're deciding to get into freelancing, should it be that you want to expand the area of work? Should it be like it should be an additional source of income? Should it be like you want to chase money? What exactly should be this thing? What was yours when you got into probably freelancing? It was
I
like
think
you wanted to
everyone
highlight
has
work.
Right. I think everyone has their own, metric or expectations from what they want. Some people just
Hmm.
want to work. Some people want to work with, clients across the globe, different cultures. Some
Yeah.
people want to have that freedom of, working from anywhere. So, you
Yeah.
travel and you live 1 month in a new country, and then, you're working from there.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Correct.
Some people really enjoy having the capacity to work from home with their family, with their kids. Um, for me, I think the main metric is just keeping up with it. That's it. Like, just
Yeah.
keeping up and seeing how it goes. Because again, I don't know where, I didn't know I would do this. I didn't ever have any plan. I don't have any plan as such as to, where I see it in
Yeah.
the future. But I just want to kind of take days as they come and see how they go. And of
Mm.
course, money is one of my most considerable factors, really
Factors.
matters.
Correct.
Yeah. As an
Correct.
international student, matters a lot more. But yeah, that's definitely
Absolutely.
one of those things. Yeah.
That's true. So Robbie here has written that balancing work life and personal life. That's true. So let's get
Mhm.
into some aspects of your personal life, I guess. So I have a question for you. What would a typical day be like if I wake up as Shreya Pattar?
If
Okay,
you
so
wake up
I
as
don't want
me,
you probably, yeah, if I wake up as you, I don't want probably like a schedule that is chunked kiya 8 to 12 or 12 to 2 or 2 to 4.
right?
But what would be like your schedule? If I wake up just as being you, what would I face or what would it be?
Okay, so you would wake up and the first thing is, even if you're sleepy, you would pick up your phone and you would keep using your phone until you're not sleepy anymore. And then your alarm has already rung and everything. You snooze it 10 times, but you're still in bed because, social media is more important. And then finally, when you are
And
almost
you
on
are
the brink,
you're just candidly accepting that fact.
so that's really true. That's what I do. That's really what I do. And like just at the moment when I realize, okay, I need to get up and take a call in like 5 minutes, or I need to start working in
Yeah.
like half an hour, whatever. Then I'll get up and I'll freshen up and I'll cook breakfast or something, take a lot of pictures, put it on my personal Instagram, things like that. And okay, yeah, this is you, by the way. Okay, so and then yeah, you would work, you would take calls, and you would just be on a 3:30 call at 3:31, and that's your situation, what
That's
it would
okay.
be like. And in the evenings you would go to the gym, you would drag yourself to the gym, and it will always be raining outside while you're working out, and it will always be cold, and you will always curse yourself, and then you log in and stuff, and you'll finish your workout, come back and feel like you've achieved something. And then you'll take a good shower. You will enjoy those 20 minutes of no thought whatsoever, until then, unless like probably your phone buzzes, and then you're like, okay, I need to get out and check my
Get
phone,
back
kind
to
of
work.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you cook dinner, and you think for 20 minutes before you cook something. And okay, this always happens to me, right? I'm always like, after coming from the gym, if I don't have anything cooked, I'm always so hungry. And in my head, I
Yeah.
think, okay, this is going to take 20 minutes, this will take 30 minutes. Okay, I don't want to spend so much time cooking. I want to eat
You're
right now.
calculating while cooking? Like, what do you want to cook?
No,
You're
not while
calculating.
cooking. Like when I think, okay, should I make like, should I make rajma chawal? Fine, that will take, like 30 minutes to cook the whole thing. I don't want to wait for 30 minutes. Should I bake those burgers that I have? Okay, that'll take 20 minutes. I don't want to wait for 20 minutes. I just want to cook. And I spend like 30 minutes just thinking about it. So if I would have done that,
Yeah.
it would have been ready.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen. So I just spend a lot of time thinking about, what to cook. And then I cook stuff. I eat. I watch it. I watch Netflix, and then I sleep. So that would be your
So that's your routine, other than work, of
yeah,
course. So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk about all the interests that you have. I see that
Mhm.
you are really interested in cooking, so much so that you even find content in cooking. That
Right.
is how you posted, the copywriting thing. So much
Yeah.
so. So you go and there is I don't know why, you have definitely a knack for grocery shopping. I can say that just looking at your feed.
Right.
So I can only imagine that Shreya walking into grocery shopping, we all going crazy. Oh, we'll try this, we'll try that, and all those kind of stuff. Other than that, what does your interest like lie in, or what interests you more?
I think I have a lot of interest. I mean, whatever I find in that moment interesting, I just kind of pick that up.
Yeah.
So I think one of my main interests is Taylor Swift. Really, like, completely lost about it. I have a lot of
Yeah.
paintings. I have a lot of photos of her. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
them, but there are a lot
You're
of
you're
pictures
good
on
at
my
painting
cupboard.
as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So things like that. So yeah, I like to like paint and stuff. I had like this newfound love for working out, and like
Okay.
always knew about it, but I just didn't do
Yeah.
it myself, not actively. So I've really been going into it. And someone asked if
Yeah.
gyms are opened. I'm based in Dublin. Please take care if you're based in India. It's a completely different situation here. So please take
Right.
care if you're going to gyms in India. And yeah, I mean, and some things I like photography, and so like
Yeah.
after I cook, I always like to plate my food well, and I take a lot of pictures. And
Yeah. Yeah.
photography, I like that a lot. And recently I've liked videography, like talking to the camera, or making reels, things like that.
You have
That's
enjoyed
a
that,
lot of
yeah.
fun, actually. Yeah, so that's something I like.
And then other thing is that I know one more thing, and that is you are an ardent Tintin fan. You have
Mm,
literally binge read every Tintin series.
right.
And what caught your interest, and more so, what did you learn from that? Like, you have definitely put 6 hours. 6 hours is a lot of time. That is how much you have read, and you have finished, and you have reread everything. So, what is
Yeah.
that Tintin taught you, or probably, how did you garner that kind of interest in that particular comic? It's just very
So
fascinating to learn that.
yeah, I mean, I think I was 6 years old at that point when I found Tintin. And
Yeah,
Tintin was actually one of my dad's favorite comics when he was younger. So he really
yeah,
loved that. And that time it was like all black and white and stuff. So he really loved
yeah,
those comics. And actually, like, me and my dad had this thing. So every weekend we had one trip to the DVD store, which was like right under our building, and there was one trip to the bookstore. So you could basically
Hmm.
rent DVDs and you could rent books for the weekend
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So we used to do
Yeah.
a lot of that. He used to get his movies and books, and that
Yeah.
was like our weekend routine. So one of these times, like, he got one of those Tintin comics and he was like, this was my favorite, you should check it out. And I really loved the whole idea because there was so much adventure, there was so much, there was so many big words, there are so many interesting characters, and
Yeah.
everything has a twist and turn. It's not like it's not as simple. It's not really for kids, you would say. Like, even now at my age, I would still like to read it. Even probably my parents would still like to read it because it's so engaging, and it's so, it's like a thriller movie. It's basically like a thriller.
Right.
And
Right.
at this one point, like, my dad, like, I just liked those books. We got 2 or 3, I liked it. And this one time we went to the shop and my dad just got me this 26 book set of Tintin. I remember these were very expensive for that time. These were like 400, 500 rupees per book, which was
Yeah.
very expensive for those many
The
years ago.
hardcover comic.
These were not even hardcover. These were like the simple, thin, normal
Okay.
book copy kind of things. But yeah, I bought them, and I think as long as I was in India, like until 2, 3 years ago, every single day I read at least one book. Like, that's what I loved. And
Yeah.
every time I would sit with 4 or 5 books. I even have a lot of pictures actually with me doing that. I just sit in the sofa, become a ball with like 4 or 5 books because I just want to keep mixing things up. So
Right.
yeah, that's
That's
why. I mean,
that's
I
how
just
you.
love Tintin.
That's just
Yeah.
amazing. Other than that, also, like, you are a very avid reader, and like, do you read a lot other than this thing? Like, are you into literature? Probably, I think you must be into literature, right?
I am supposed to read a lot for my college. I don't manage to do all of that. I do want to
Because of work.
increase the amount of reading I do because um, most of my reading these days is articles or things like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
internet copy
yeah,
rather than books. So I really want to go back
yeah.
to like reading proper novels. So working on that.
I think you'll get there. But let's talk on the entrepreneurship lines now.
Mhm.
You are a budding entrepreneur, and you have come up with your own startup, which is called as Doozy.
Mm.
A little brief, talk about that would be really nice because even I want to personally know what is the main aim of Doozy, and even more so, why the name Doozy, and what
Right.
are your like plans with Doozy, and how did like the entrepreneur journey start?
So I would say, like, this is still something that's basically a concept. It's not something I've worked on yet, and I just
Okay,
don't think, like, I do want to work on it. I just don't have the space right now, but I will eventually.
right,
But it's just
yeah,
something that I have been working on because being a freelancer, there were certain challenges I faced, especially with
mm,
client communication. And my aim is to, kind of have this software or application that just makes it all easy for freelancers. So basically, it's
right.
about simplifying the communication between clients and freelancers,
Clients and
and
freelancers, yeah.
probably building it up from there. And Doozy was, I guess, it was just I think. God, I bring up my dad too much. My mom is just not going to like
That's
this.
okay. That's
But
okay. That's okay.
yeah, but I think like when we a few years ago, I think I was just thinking about what I would call a company if I had a company, and my
Hmm.
dad and I was just brainstorming things, and he just said Doozy, and I was like, what does Doozy mean? Like, if you think about Doozy actually, it has two meanings. It has two very different meanings. One is, it means that Doozy is like you're lazy or something, and one
Yeah,
means it's
yeah.
unique. So Doozy means unique.
Okay.
So I just found it weird, but then when I had this startup competition, I really had to come up with a name quickly, and I was like, "Oh, you remember that one? That's what I'm calling it. Let's just go with it." And it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
stuck because people really remember the name so easily because it's just like it just sounds like a drunk app. I don't know. It just sounds weird. It sounds fun. It sounds creative. It sounds like
But I think
it
that
sounds
is
like
what
you something you want
the
to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But then
like
that is what
doozy.
the
So
tinge of it.
yeah.
It's really nice to pronounce, and it's really nice to say that, oh, Doozy, and I can probably picture like it being a good brand name. You could
Mhm.
actually experiment a lot with the logo design and coming up with a copywriting thing. That'll be a pretty good challenge for you as well. And
Yeah.
you have also got this thing investment also for the same, right? For the startup
Yeah.
idea.
This was like a grant, I would say, from my college. So
Grant,
we
yeah.
had a competition in college. So I won €2,500 there. So that
That
was
is
the very
amazing.
first invest, like very first grant we I won for the my first startup, I would say.
That's amazing. You have been doing a lot of things, and I bet that you are literally an inspiration, and more so, even more so, all the students they're going to look up to you so that they can figure out and chart out what they want to do. So, what would in the last? I'm not going to like typically ask you what your plan is. Although there's a question asking that what is your plan after you have done literature, and you could probably give your insight on the same.
After I've done literature, I don't know really, because like I think the main question is, what can you probably do with a literature degree? But actually,
Yeah.
there's a lot, and I don't know. I may go in for like further studies. I may go in for. I enjoy freelancing. Based on how it works
Yeah.
out, I would really like to keep going on with that. So I'll let you know where I end up.
Yeah, so I had decided already that I'm going to forbid from that question, like, what is your plan? Or, even though it was there on my ear, and it was like till up until brim where I could ask, like, what is the aspiration? Then I was like, no, I don't think it's a correct time to ask. But one thing on, the parting note, I would see that what would your advice be, all those who are actually thinking on freelancing, now that after the lockdown, things have typically changed. And by freelancing, not necessarily content writers or copywriters or designers, but in any field. And if that is what they are going to take, what would be your set of like advice for those who are considering freelancing, even though if they're leaving their job or even though they're making through the job, however it is, just entering for the ones who are going to enter into freelancing?
Do it because you want to do it. Because I'm
Yeah.
realizing now that how entrepreneurship has honestly become a fad. It's become cool to have a startup. It's become cool to be an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
I'm actually noticing the same trend that's been with entrepreneurship in the recent years. It's coming to freelancing.
Correct.
So becoming a freelancer is just something people want to do because they see other people doing it. So I
Yeah.
would highly recommend that only do freelancing if you want to do it, because it's otherwise it's draining. It's something that
Yeah.
if you like, freelancing requires a lot of commitment, hard work, and it requires a lot of sustenance. You have to
Hmm.
be there every single day, not just show up once in a while. And the thing is, if you don't do that, you won't make it, and then it'll just be looming in your head as one of those failures that you didn't really get,
Correct.
you couldn't succeed in. And it's not because freelancing is difficult, then you're just going to term, oh my god, freelance. It's not that. It's because you don't enjoy it
Yeah.
and you couldn't really commit yourself to it. So don't do it if you don't want to do it. Do it only
Yeah.
if you enjoy it, if you can commit to it, and if you can really be okay with the whole unpredictable nature of it, then go for it.
That's wonderful. I think most of that is what I had for you today. And my focus on you was, it was getting to know Shreya more, getting to know Shreya
Yeah.
better, and not about, that professional Shreya, but more like personal Shreya. And I think you have just highlighted all the aspects from your growth till up until what you have done right now. And it's just amazing to see you grow, and it's just amazing to see how well you are coming up one after the another. I'm very excited and stoked about your second ebook, and I'm definitely going to purchase that. And I don't know what the content is going to be, on what lines it's going to be. I'm not going to ask you as well, because even I want myself to be surprised about it. So without much thing, all I can say is I'm really, really, really thank you for joining, and more so, just all the more power to you. You are just one of the most kindest soul I have ever known and come across.
Thank you so much,
That's the
Anjana.
thing.
Thank you so much. I
So,
mean, even like when we spoke and you said you really want to do a personal interview, and that was one of the first times someone said that, because, again, I share a lot about
yeah,
freelancing, so this was different, and I really liked your question about if you were me. It was a very
yeah,
complicated question.
yeah.
I don't know how you're going to organize your thoughts, but yeah, that was a good question. So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you
because
so much.
I look up to your account and I wonder that she is just so consistent with everything. And one thing I honestly, I would really candidly also, not being candidly though, but one thing that I miss literally in my life is consistency. I'm nowhere consistent. And I wonder, and I always check your Instagram, I check your probably LinkedIn. The very first thing is she can do it. She has every time frame. There's posts, there's Instagram, there's reels, there's videos, there's content, there's live chat. She makes time for everybody. How does she do that? And that is why it, popped up a question. I would really like to experience life for at least one day for 24 hours to see that what I'm actually missing out. But you are a sport, really, and I really enjoyed chatting with you and connecting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't think like our audience might have a lot of questions, but then it will go on the professional lines though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think let's just wrap the session, or do you want
Yeah.
to take a couple of questions or anything?
Whatever, your show, whatever you want.
If if there's any like question that you want to know, Shreya, personally, I'd really request you to not ask about copywriting or content writing or probably how to grow this, because this is just Shreya catching with us very candidly. So if there's any personal question, there it is. Shivangi, you have a question. Shoot. I
Even
think she's
like
typing.
the thing you said about consistency, like it's difficult for you to be
Yeah.
consistent or commit to something. I'll tell you what, like this is exactly why I said the thing about going for freelancing only if you want to do it and only if you enjoy it, because it's
Yeah.
not like I have not had things in life that I haven't been consistent about. I have done a lot of things in life. I have even even in terms of, say, me taking up science in high school, it didn't work out for
Yeah.
me because I couldn't commit and I didn't want to commit to studying that every
Yeah.
single day, right? Completely normal.
Mm.
You just kind of have to find out what appeals to you and something that would
I think,
effortlessly be a
yeah.
commitment for you. So yeah,
I think
that's
if
a
commitment has
tip.
to come by force, right? You don't have
Yeah,
to, you shouldn't be pushing it. I think
right.
that is something like I'm learning, but I'm very sure that your ebook and you are teaching me that.
Yeah.
And then there's a question that is it being tough alone?
Okay, is it
And
tough
then there's
living
one more
alone,
question. Okay.
Shivangi? It's honestly, like, I thought it would be when I moved here first, but once you move abroad, there is so much happening. You cannot even imagine. You may think like you
Yeah.
just move in and you go to college and you have lectures. It's not just that. You have so much going on, mentally, physically, socially, and whatever other ways you can think of.
Right.
You just don't have time to think about other things. You don't have time to
Yeah.
think about missing home. You don't have time to think about how tough life is, because what can you do? You have to get up and do stuff.
It's just, it
So
is. Correct.
I even think about I think about that whenever I'm sick, especially because I know when I moved here and whenever if I felt sick or something, or I was tired, I would still get up and eat. I would still get out of bed and still do everything,
Yeah.
still clean my room, still cook, still maybe make it to lectures, or ask for notes later, study, all of that. I still did it.
Correct.
But when I went home for the summer, if I was sick, I would just lay in bed and I would just pretend like I'm so sick, and my mom would have to do something like get food for me and all that. So honestly, the point is, it's natural and it'll just happen once you
Yeah.
live alone. So you don't have to think too much about it. Completely normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been out myself after 18, so I can completely relate like how
Yeah.
it goes. We have another question by Acid and Wafers, who asks that what's your biggest pet peeve while freelancing?
My biggest pet peeve while freelancing. Okay, pet peeve is something that annoys you, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, hmm. I'm just thinking. What's my biggest pet peeve? I guess just people saying cool. I don't like it when people respond with cool. Like I say thanks for the
Yeah.
payment, they're like cool. I say the content is ready, they're like cool. Or I've paid your invoice, and they're like cool. It's just weird. I don't like the word cool. I just prefer like say
I thought you
thanks,
were
say
you were more
okay.
like probably complaining about. I thought you would bring up some nagging clients or something like that. But
No,
I think
that's
this
a part
point
of
is
it.
even better.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
that's
this point
part
is
of it. That's
actually
part of
good
it. Yeah, yeah.
that
Cool
people
is
say
weird.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Then there's one more. We'll take one more. I think. Do you have a set schedule for Monday and like Monday and Saturday, or is it that you will compulsory post something on Insta or somewhere other than, or it's just random?
Oh, it's
We have this
completely
question
random.
from Priyanka.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna post. I just wake up and I decide. Unless of course it's like unless it's something I've decided for the launch of my ebook, then I know okay I'm gonna post this. But other than
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I never really know. Even in terms of like knowing what live topics I do, I just announce it in the morning like hey I'll be doing a live for this topic this evening. So no schedule as such. But sometimes it's a good idea just kind of write some posts and have them in advance. It's always good, and then you can decide whatever you want to post in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think then there is somebody who's asking like, what's the scope of job in literature? I think
So,
that
job
is
in
something that even you are figuring out.
Yeah, I mean, people go into a lot of things. I've seen a lot of people go into communications after literature. Either if not like writing, journalism are a few options, but communication is actually a very interesting one, like marketing and media. So
Yeah,
that's something you could look at if you like that.
that's mostly it. All
Yeah.
right. I think, is it ideal to ask payment for advance? Shreya has already spoken about it, about clients and payments. You should
You should
please,
always charge for an advance payment. In fact, I always take a hundred
yeah.
percent advance. There's like no question about it. Like
And even
either
more so,
advance or just sorry.
right. And even more so, Sushmita should actually check the video that you have made on payments.
Yeah, right.
That, yeah, that'll give her a very good insight. Please do that, Sushmita. That's something that even I have checked into and apply it as well. And then Komal, why do you want to know her age? She's doing so well for herself.
Thank you for taking care of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's not get there.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
All right, so I think that's mostly it. The other questions are just going to be professional and more so. We'll take up probably some other time. And
Yeah.
it was a fun session, and let's just probably wrap it just as we thought. I think it just fit into time frame, I guess,
Yeah. All good.
right?
So yeah, thank you
So
so much, Anjana. Like it was a lot of fun, very
thank you so
interesting.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you. And I just wish you all the very best and more power to you. So that, just come up with, just surprise us. We are there, all there rooting for you and wishing you all
Yeah.
the very best.
Thank you so much. Means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah. See you then. Thanks everyone who joined as well. Lovely
Yeah.
questions. So thanks everyone. See you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank
Bye,
you
Anjana.
guys. Thank you. Bye bye.